Could the Boston Celtics win a gold medal if they were part of the tournament? Brian Windhorst thinks so. Let's talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Jrue in the mix, and 3 from KP. No, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Juice, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in locked on NASA. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and J's, how we started raising business. How we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. Right here in the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day, and we got you covered this time of year, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So 3 days a week, still more podcasting than you're going to find anywhere else about the Boston Celtics. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into that comment section. Let me know what you're thinking about all the stuff that we're going to be talking about here. If you're new to the show, I'm John Karalis. I used to play a long time ago. Now I'm covering the Boston Celtics for Boston Sports Journal as a beat writer. I'm also an author. I've written a couple of books about the Celtics, including Built Different, a commemorative championship book celebrating Banner 18. Find that online. And in New England stores, just bookstores, Walgreens, probably Sam's Club, places that you shop. Look for it. All right. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more and enjoy a summer full of boosts and bonuses for all customers every day. So there's something for everyone all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We'll get into the Team USA. We're going to have some fun with the three different scenarios about could the Boston Celtics win gold? But let's start a conversation here about just Team USA and 3 Boston Celtics beating Brazil pretty easily with our guy, Tom Westerholm. What's going on, Tom?
What up? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I would have been doing better if someone from the Celtics did something like huge, big, like, let's sink our teeth into this against Brazil.
Yeah.
But, look, Derrick White was good.
Sure. Yeah.
Did Derrick White things.
Good basketball player. Yeah.
He's a good basketball player. Jrue Holiday. Also very good basketball player. Pretty good. Defended well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jayson Tatum. He's a good basketball player. Not showing his full capabilities here.
A little less utilized than the other guys.
Yeah. Not playing his usual role. Not so.
You want to just get mad at Steve Kerr again for like 30 minutes?
Well, we could.
What a jerk.
Yeah, I mean,
more like Steve Jerk. Got him.
Steve Kerr. I can't come up with the thing. I can't come up with a Kerr thing.
No.
So then no. I got nothing.
Okay. You only want to do it. You only want to do it if you've got if you can come up.
I can't come up with a pun. I can't. No. What are you gonna say? Even the guys that have struggled where you would make your case like Tatum should play more. It's like Joel Embiid. Well, Joel Embiid, he shot well. He hit 3 of 3 from 3. He did some things.
Yeah.
None of these guys except for LeBron and Kevin Durant are doing their usual stuff. Like those guys are doing their usual stuff. Everyone else is kind of doing some lesser version. Derrick, you know what? I think Derrick and Jrue are doing their usual stuff.
Yeah,
that might be. They're probably doing their usual stuff.
And that actually speaks to why they are a part of why this whole thing is happening the way it is because them doing their usual stuff is a perfect complement to stars, which is what this team is made up of. So yeah, they're absolutely doing their usual stuff.
Yeah. So that's but okay. So I can't complain about Embiid much. I could, but let me give that a rest for a day. It's fine. Devin Booker had a great game. He shot extraordinarily well. So he's a guy that had been struggling. So you can't sit there and be like, well, you should have sat Booker. Like, no, this is Steph Curry was okay, but he's not going to bench Steph Curry. So
right.
And you know what? Tatum was 1 for 5. he had that one alley-oop off the inbounds pass, which was nice, and missed some shots, got fouled on a couple that you could probably argue. But I don't know. Are you concerned at all with Tatum? His jumper seems to have kind of abandoned him for an extended period of time. He didn't exactly have like a monster shooting game at all in any of the playoff games. Like throughout that playoff run, he was mostly a facilitator throughout it all. In the Olympics, he hasn't exactly, the ball's different, the distance is different, but like other guys are shooting well. Is there any level of concern there with you with Tatum?
I mean, nothing that's unique to what we're seeing right now, right? Like, because to your point, it's like this is not new. It's an interesting, I think I kind of was of the mindset that like him putting on muscle and everything would probably be fine, and that he probably wouldn't lose his, too much off his jumper or anything like that. Like he'd just get used to it. I think most shooters who lift weights will tell you that if you lift and then you go shoot for, even if you're just like a rec league player, right? If you lift and you put on some muscle, but you shoot after each session or before each session, as long as you're getting shots up, you get used, you kind of get used to it as you get stronger. And so like, I was of the mindset, like, hey, like, that's probably Tatum putting on this muscle. I assume it'll be fine. I assume, that the same principle applies. I don't know. It has been weird that his shot. I mean, there's like the clips that are floating around Twitter right now of him playing in the bubble, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is a different basketball player. Like this is just a completely different guy. So I would say I have some concerns, but nothing about Team USA. Like with Team USA, it's like this is just Steph Curry and LeBron James. This is their team, and like Anthony Edwards is kind of like up next. Like it's like. Mm-hmm. There's a very clear sort of I don't want to say hierarchy, that's not the right word, but Tatum feels like he is supplementary to this team, and whatever he does and is great, but they're not expecting much out of him.
We'll probably save the Tatum shooting topic for like after the Olympics are over. Just kind of see how it all. There's only a couple of games left, right? They've got to beat Serbia next, and then the winner of France and Germany. Which, France, by the way, shout out Gershon Yabusele for the Dancing Bear, just absolutely dominating Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian team did not have a great front court, let's say, and Yabu just danced his way to a big game.
He did.
That
was fun to watch. I'm happy for Yabu.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll get Tatum a couple more games, and then we'll get into more of the, are we concerned where Tatum's jumper is? Because I don't know, maybe I just going to take a closer look. He does a thing where he gathers the ball like right at his belt buckle, and it's like it was an extra step. He's doing an extra thing, and he's got these big long arms, and his elbow bends extra, like he's double jointed. So when he shoots, instead of his arm being straight, it's kind of like bent the other way. And I just think the more, when you're a shooter, the more stuff you throw into the shot, that's just one more place where it can get derailed. And so I got to look at it a little closer.
Look, I know we're trying to save it, but he also does this weird, like wacky, inflatable waving arm flailing tube man kind of like movement. He does kind of this like, it's got this whole like like it's odd. It is odd.
That's the one where I tweeted out a thing from the finals where Kristaps Porzingis was making fun of, like, he did this like little shimmy of like the shot going up, and as I adjust my mic and knock it all over the place, but Porzingis did that like it was clearly a joke. And that video went viral because everybody's like, yes, that's Tatum like shimmying his way into a shot.
Yeah.
I just think he's doing too much. And I'll take a closer look at it. We'll look at some of the older clips of him shooting, and we'll do a show later about Tatum shooting and where it's gone and where it's going and all of that stuff, because there's something there. I'm not really concerned but I'm just afraid that they've maybe over tinkered with it.
Seems possible. Yeah, I agree with you though that I kind of want to like take a deep dive into that before we get too in the weeds.
Yeah. That gives me, I don't want to blow a whole idea for me. Like, oh, geez, I could write about this and do a
Right,
podcast. Let's just do it now for no reason. No, we'll talk about that at another time. What we want to talk about next is the story I talked about at the top in the open. Brian Windhorst, that's his name. Windy said that the Celtics, if they were in this tournament, would have a good chance at winning gold. Oh, interesting. Let's break down Boston's chances in a series of scenarios. We'll find a way to do it, and we'll talk about that next. Today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Now, I have benefited from therapy myself. I encourage people to go find somebody to talk to, but I also know that finding somebody to talk to get stuff off your chest is very difficult. It's hard to find somebody near you. It's hard to find somebody near work. And if you don't click, then you got to go through that whole process again. It's very disheartening. That's why BetterHelp can help you, because everything is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. It's all done online. So all you do is fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. And if for some reason you need to switch, if you just don't click, then you can switch with no additional charge. That's a huge thing, because once you do click with somebody, you find somebody that you can trust and you can get a lot of stuff off your chest. You can end up feeling a lot better. So I think the journey to a better you is something that can be enhanced through therapy. It has worked for me 100%. And I think it's just an ongoing thing. So give BetterHelp a try. Go to betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA today. You get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Never skip a therapy day with BetterHelp. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. After I'm done with this show, I'm going to go record a Locked On NBA with Jake Madison, because we host the Wednesday show. So check it out. There is no off season in the NBA, and we've got daily basketball analysis from national and local experts, 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed or entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's get back into it here with Tom. All right, Brian Windhorst was on TV and said basically the Celtics would have a great chance of winning gold if they were in this tournament. But there's an issue by just saying that. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. The Boston Celtics have a few international players, two very important ones in Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford. They also had Svi Mikhailuk. They also had O'Shea Brissett, who was Canadian. And so they, who else? They had Nemias Queta, who is Portuguese.
Yep.
So they have guys that have contributed. They've come in and made contributions throughout the course of the season. And that's the entire front court, basically, outside of Luke Cornett. So there are a few different scenarios here. There's the Boston Celtics as constituted, right? The championship team going into the tournament. It doesn't matter that Porzingis is Latvian. It doesn't matter that Al Horford is Dominican. That's scenario one. So let's just start there. And then we'll get into like fantasy scenarios, and we'll get into like this team, the Celtics, has been entered in Team USA's stead. So,
which is another interesting wrinkle that I don't think, when we were talking pre-show, I don't think you mentioned. Are they in the stead of Team USA, or are they
okay? That's
or
right.
Are they playing, or would they play against Team USA?
So that's part of the other scenario here, because if the Celtics are in just as constituted, then Tatum, White, Holiday all come off of Team USA.
Yeah.
And those guys are replaced by whomever. I don't know who it would be.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. That would be the one time they took him. But it would be interesting to see who they took. But let's just say that, they either one. Let's talk about both. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with just straight up. They are Team USA. The Boston Celtics are
Boston Celtics
America's
are
team.
Team USA. They are submitted, and they would. So I think that team has a great chance to win gold for sure. Like, and this is the whole thing. Like, can the Celtics call themselves world champions? I've flat out said Celtics against any other professional basketball team, not national team. Any other professional basketball, they're winning that. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't care who wins the EuroLeague. Celtics are winning that game, hands down. We're talking now about national teams, and they're going to beat, like, they would beat Brazil. They would beat a lot of these teams. Think about the Serbian team. They've beaten Denver. They've had some problems with Denver. Like, they've beaten Denver, and Denver is essentially a super team of all, like they've got Jamal Murray, a Canadian. They've got, Jokic. They've got guys from other countries there. So I feel like the Celtics, they might have some trouble with the Germany and, France, maybe the size. I guess, and this is under FIBA rules.
But would they? Would they though? I mean,
they would have some. It wouldn't be an easy. It wouldn't be an easy game. Like, if the Celtics played France, it wouldn't be easy. But a lot of these guys that are making contributions, like we just said, Yabu made a big contribution for France. Are we really going to say that Yabu, who can't make it in the NBA, is going to do that against a team full of NBA players? Right. I don't. And that's the big thing. That so many of these teams rely on non-NBA players, but they have that continuity to make up for it, the style of play, the rules, the understanding of the rules, and all of that stuff. I still think the Celtics would be the favorite.
I agree. I mean, I think you're right that there are teams that could. I mean, like Canada, right? That really should not have lost today if you just kind of look up and down their roster.
They should not have lost.
No.
That's going to be part of the Lockdown NBA, the whole Jamal Murray thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a conversation.
There you go. But yeah, no, I mean, like Canada's team, you look up and down that team, it's like, I mean, there's some players on that team that would be a challenge for the Boston Celtics. But even there, it's like, okay, so your center is like Dwight Powell, right? Like, coming off the bench, you don't really have a lot. Like, there's guys that the Celtics would be able to do the thing that they did largely to Dallas too. And then you get to like France, it's like, well, I mean, they've got obviously Wemby, and then like apparently Yabu, the international all-star here. But one way or the other, there's going to be non-NBA players on that team. There's going to be guys who, again, I think the Celtics could pick on there. I think the other thing to keep in mind, right, is that like one of the problems for Team USA is that it is kind of an all-star team, whereas the Celtics are a team that has played together, that is cohesive, that has, I think they win against any of these teams. They know how to play basketball. I think they would be able to take advantage of these teams in a lot of different ways.
They actually have the advantage that Team USA doesn't.
Yes,
in that they have the same chemistry that all these other teams have.
Yes.
That's the thing. The problem with the Olympics for Boston would be that it's a tournament, a knockout tournament.
Yes.
That's the problem.
That is true.
And the Celtics, where they would struggle and lose and potentially not even medal, is if in this opening round, like they have this opening round against Canada, let's say, or against France. We just saw Canada lose to France. They should have beaten France.
Yeah.
But if the Celtics have a ice cold 28% shooting night from three, now the 3-point line is closer.
Yeah.
So there is, a little bit more of an advantage. But if the Celtics have one of those cold nights, that thing that Joe Mazzulla keeps talking about of it's whatever it takes, however it looks, it eliminates well, it doesn't matter if we lose a game. Remember after the Celtics lost game 4 to the Mavs, where they were like, look, we expect to win, or maybe it was after game 3. we expect, but if we lose, if it goes to game 5, game 6, game 7, doesn't matter, we're fine. And you don't have that attitude. It's,
Yeah.
If you shoot 25% from 3 and you're down 20 or 15 at the half, you've only got, by the way, 20 minutes, not 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And you've only got, your guys get 5 fouls, not 6. So you have run the risk of guys getting into trouble, and you just run out of time. If you can't get that shot going, if the other team is hot, if you just have one of those Miami Heat type of games, Celtics could get bounced. So that is a consideration.
And I think real quick, it's also important to note, you brought up that the shorter 3-point line would be an advantage. Probably, but the Celtics do create, like, having the floor spaced out further is kind of to their advantage in some ways too, right?
Yeah.
Like if it is harder for Tatum to drive and collapse the defense and, kick the ball out, like that a lot of that is kind of predicated on that first initial point of attack. And if that isn't exactly what it was, in an NBA setting with a bigger 3-point line and guys have to recover further to get out there, I think that the shorter 3-point line is an advantage, but at the same time, recovering is easier when things are a little bit more condensed. So I think there's something to that too.
And there's no defensive 3-second. So the Celtics, one of their strengths is driving, collapse, and then kick. If you don't have a guy that has to worry about being in the lane for 3 seconds, because you kind of time that out. You sit there and be like, okay, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. No one's cut through the lane, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's why the Celtics kind of stand up. No one's cut through the lane to give that guy someone to tag and start the clock over again. So okay, he's going to have to get out of this lane, and that's when I can drive. If you don't have that, then a lot of the driving that the Celtics is Jaylen Brown going to be as effective when Rudy Gobert, Victor Wembanyama don't have to leave the perimeter. Now, you still have to figure out how to guard Porzingis and Horford around the perimeter. That's still an issue. Yep. But when you can stick a tree in the middle of the lane and prevent these guys from doing a lot of the things that they can do on the NBA level, this is where, the Celtics are better. They have a better collection of talent. You realize when you look at all the rosters, man, this is a very talented team that the Celtics have. But the rules, I think that might play into this. Let's continue this conversation because we got a few different scenarios here to go through to figure out, can the Celtics win gold? Very, very August conversation.
Yes.
Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. All summer long, FanDuel is giving customers a boost or a bonus. So don't worry about sports slowing down. Don't worry about, hey, there's not much to pay attention to. No, go ahead and check out FanDuel.com. Get your boost, get your bonus. There's something there for everybody all day long. We're just talking about the Celtics in this tournament. There's still an actual tournament to be played. And right now, France is the underdog against Germany, and the Celtics Team USA, 16.5 points favored over Serbia. So the Team USA still a heavy favorite to win a gold here, but Germany would be tough. Head on over to FanDuel. Check it out if you want to throw some money down there. Set your limits. They've got tools here to help you out. So you're just playing with your disposable income. Set your limits, set your budget, so you can have some fun on FanDuel.com and not go overboard. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball, so make sure you're going to FanDuel.com. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Sports today after you're done here. It's all the big stories. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube, Amazon, free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Do that after you're done here, after you're done with Locked On NBA. Just Locked On. It's Locked On all day, every day. It's a fun way to get your fix. All right, Tom. So where do we end up here? Where the Celtics? I still think the Celtics would win.
Yeah.
But I think there would be
I'd pick them, but I wouldn't be
I'd pick
shocked
'em.
if they lose.
Yeah, I think there's room for them to lose.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think they'd be 16.5-point favorites over Serbia.
Right.
So that's if they were Team USA. Like, that's the representation. Now, what if they were just entered into this tournament? You have two scenarios here. One where, well, Tatum, White, and Brown have to come off of Team USA. We talked about that. There's another scenario where, hey, let's play video game style. Let's play a Magic tournament where Team USA is there. They also have Tatum, White, and Holiday. The Celtics have Tatum, White, and Holiday. Okay, let's start with the real scenario. Could the Boston Celtics, let's just assume, okay, they'll beat everybody else. If the Celtics played a Team USA without Tatum, White, or Holiday, could they win that game?
So I think the answer is very similar to the other answer, which is, yeah, if they're hitting threes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like the team that we watched when they hit this year, when they hit threes, they were basically unbeatable. And I think, you're throwing talent at them for sure with Team USA, and whoever replaces those three guys on the roster will also be very talented. But like, you go up and down the list, right? You go up and down the roster. Tons of talent, but like not a lot of continuity. And I think would still be like, points that could be picked at. Like, it's not like you're not looking at Devin Booker and thinking to yourself like, whoa, how are the Celtics going to attack him? Like same thing, Halliburton can't really play against the Celtics. Like, that was
right.
Him being like on the floor was like, kind of target practice sometimes. I think the Celtics, now I will say that this, like, the talent level is very different. And I mean, having like Bam Adebayo makes things much harder. He's just the kind of switchable guy that's very difficult to deal with and all of that. But I mean, again, I think it just comes down, like, are the Celtics making a ton of threes? Because if so, yeah, they got a shot, and they could definitely beat Team USA. If they're hitting, I do think if they're hitting like a normal amount of threes or like a slightly less than average amount of threes, then you start to be like,
That would
a lot
be
of talent on that Team USA team.
There's a lot of talent. Bringing Kevin Durant off the bench is where it gets me. Like, I think,
yeah, I would be curious. I bet he would start probably if.
Well, that's true. Okay, so it does depend a little bit on who are the three guys. So I'll let me backtrack just a second. I'll simply state, if USA also has Tatum, White, and Brown and Holiday, then it's Team USA all day.
Sure.
Like that, because now you're just negating two important guys that the Celtics have. And okay, so the Celtics Tatum is better than Team USA Tatum, but White and Holiday make Team USA go. They are very important glue pieces to this team. If you're replacing, let's say, Holiday with, I don't know, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's okay. Yeah, he's a tremendous scorer, but they don't need a tremendous scorer.
Right.
They need a guy that does what Holiday does. And how do you do? So is there another guy like that out there? Do they go for an Alex Caruso instead and say, we need this glue guy? Kind of depends a little bit on what Team USA does to fill that role. And so that would be a big thing. If they add like a couple of glue guy, defender, kind of do it all types, then be like, okay. But if they add like a Brunson, who's another scorer, would just take shots away from somebody else, and it's a guy that you can attack. All right, well, we can talk. I think USA would be favored, but it would be close. And I think, in 100 games, it would probably be like 60-40. And so I think the Celtics in that scenario would have a chance, mostly because of continuity, and they're such a good defensive team. And so I think, like you said, their shooting would propel them.
Yeah.
If White and Holiday exist on both teams, then there's no then those two are elite at what they do.
Yeah.
And
And it would eliminate so many of the advantages that the Celtics can create. Like if because like all of the stuff that the Celtics could do to beat Team USA starts with those advantages. It starts with creating the 4-on-3s and all that stuff that like Holiday and White are just like, nah, let me nip that in the bud.
Yeah. So I don't know. Bottom line is the Celtics are really good.
Yes.
And I keep forgetting to do this. They are the champs. They are the champs.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the champs for a reason. They would have a good chance to beat every other team in this tournament, and Team USA would be their biggest competition. And, they'd have a shot. They'd have a shot against Team USA. They'd have a shot. They would have a shot. I think they'd have, the way they're constructed, they'd have more of a shot than a lot of recent champions. Like they would have more of a shot than the Nuggets would.
I agree. Yeah.
The construction, the way they're just so top heavy, and also 40-minute game. That's the other thing. It's a 40-minute game. So you don't have to go that deep into your bench.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't even have to really throw Sam Hauser out there, because Tatum normally comes out like that 10-minute mark. If you can get guys like minimal rest. And I think that plays the ball.
You could rest Tatum and Jaylen like 2 to 3 minutes and have them at roughly their usual time. It'd be all right. Yeah. It would. You could play that game. So, hey, it would be fun. It would be fun to see. I still think I feel good calling the Celtics world champs. Yes.
Sorry, people. I know people in the comments are, oh, you can't do that. There's no
apologies, Noah Lyles.
Sorry.
Congrats on your gold.
Sorry.
But,
congrats on your gold. But this is, no, I'm not going to get into it. I feel comfortable with it. Yep. I feel comfortable saying thank you, Tom. We did it. 32 minutes of podcasting. Appreciate it.
Sir.
That's a big deal nowadays. But it's a fun topic. So tell me what you think in the YouTube comments. Could the Celtics, under these scenarios, which of these scenarios would the Celtics thrive? Where would they struggle? All that stuff. Let's have some fun with this conversation on that YouTube page. Let me know what you're thinking, and then I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.